And welcome back here at 5:30. In today's developments in the second trial of the Crystal Rogers case, the prosecution used testimony to contradict Brooks Houck's defense. Houck and Joseph Lawson are on trial for the disappearance of Crystal Rogers out of Bardstown, Kentucky. And today, Steve Lawson's ex-girlfriend took the stand, claiming she heard Steve and Joseph Lawson talking about moving a body.
Now, in poking holes in the defense's arguments, a lot of cell phone records were entered as evidence today. The jury got to see a lot of it on the screen. The prosecution actually playing a video map showing the actual cell phone pings. The jury could see Brooks Houck's phone moving around his family farm and the campground July 3rd and 4th. The prosecutor using that evidence to contradict Houck's own written recollection of what he did that day, that he was running errands and busy all day long on the 3rd of July.
And with witnesses continuing to take the stand, the trial is unloading a lot onto the jury and the public.
Well, no one's been fascinated more about these cell phone records than WHAS 11 News' own legal analyst Nick Mudd, who 1 year ago pointed to their very importance in this trial. So there you have it. Nick, you had Brooks Houck. They asked him to write down, what he did that day, and he spent an hour and a half or so to do 8-page notes. And then here comes the cell phone records contradicting everything he wrote down. What do you make of it?
I think it's a big deal. I think the prosecution probably had their biggest day yet out of the gate. The big thing is what they're doing is they put the statement out there a couple days ago from Brooks Houck, gave it to the jury, and now they're systematically undermining every single thing to show that it's false. And I think with cell phone records, it's different than witness testimony. We get witnesses who could be drug addicts, who would lie, who people don't trust their credibility. Cell phone records are cell phone records. Nobody's making them up. And I tell you, there's no better expert in the state of Kentucky than Tim O'Daniel. I've had him in multiple cases. He's great, knows what he's doing, and I think he survived the cross-examination today.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. How can the defense counter those cell phone records that show him at the family farm?
They've done a good job of saying, look, it doesn't always hit off the tower where you're near. It could hit a farther tower. Sometimes you can't trust because there's concrete barriers in the way. There's trees, there's forests, there's other things that can interfere. But Detective O'Daniel did a great job of withstanding cross-examination and essentially say, look, I'm here to report the facts. This is what it says, and it shows that he wasn't telling the truth in that statement.
But do cell phone records prove he committed murder?
That's the question. And I think what the prosecution is doing is what we expected. They're building that case piece by piece by piece. There's not going to be a smoking gun here. I don't think we're going to see it. But what they're doing is they're building that puzzle and giving a full picture to say, hey, this man's guilty. And at the very end, that's what they're going to argue. And
to help build that case, an important witness today was Steve Lawson's ex-girlfriend, who said she overheard Steve and his son Joseph talking about moving a body.
That's Heather Snellen. I think that was a big deal. It's really the first time we've heard Joey Lawson pulled into this case. I mean, I don't think we've even heard the prosecution hardly mention his name at all throughout, 3 or 4 days of trial.
Right.
And so this was the first time to really pull him in, kind of give us some context of why. Now, certainly, Mr. Boyd and Mr. Coleman, his attorneys, have been attacking fiercely on cross-examination. But I do think, I'm curious of how much credibility the jury gives her testimony, and if they do, Joseph Lawson could be in trouble.
But if you're an attorney for Brooks Houck, do you really worry about what Heather Snellen had to say? Because isn't it, in the end, hearsay coming from a secondary source? And she's the ex-girlfriend now?
And that was what, they put her through on cross-examination. She had a very tense cross-examination from the defense lawyers, and that's what they're going to argue for in the, at the end and say, look, you sat on this information for years. And in fact, the investigators bullied you into saying this, and I think they played some clips in court to show the investigators threatened to take her children or potentially threaten her with some sort of jail time.
And she hadn't reported it even as late as 2021.
Right. And I think, again, we don't know what's in the jury's mind, but it could weigh heavily on them. If they believe her and they trust her testimony, it's going to be a big deal.
Did she play believable in your mind?
I think that with the prosecution was up there, it was believable, but the defense did a great job of undermining her credibility. Prosecution swung back the other way, though, and said, what's the truth? And she said, this is my truth. I stand by it.
I mean, the cell phone information is fascinating, showing him on that farm from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're talking about the 3rd of July, which is a specific date, then going to a lumber store at 4:30, then coming back at 7:25 p.m. and there until midnight. And remember, he was setting up that date with Crystal Rogers to come to the family farm. Once again, it's a specific time frame. What does that parameter of the time tell you?
Well, a lot of the reason they did that is to show that statement that he wrote out essentially had lots of things that were false in there. What I found interesting, Doug, is that there was testimony that Nick Houck's phone was turned off essentially the whole, I think, 3rd and 4th of July. Completely off. No tower data, nothing. I don't know what to make of that yet, but I thought that was a very, very interesting thing. I don't know anybody that's had their cell phone off for 2 days.
Right.
People go crazy. They go to the Verizon store or the AT&T, wherever. And I just think that is interesting. I'm not sure how the prosecution is going to use it, but they made it a point to get it out and put it in front of the jury, so I got to believe they're going to use it somehow.
All right. Nick Mudd, once again, breaking it down, expert testimony. I know you've been waiting for this cell phone information as you brought it to our attention 1 year ago here on this newscast. This Friday certainly produced a lot to talk about, and we're going to be here later tonight with a brand new 30-minute special report for you. Join me along with Shay McAllister, Alexandra Goldberg, and Bowling Green. WHAS 11 legal analyst Nick Mudd will be with me here in the WHAS studio. You can watch it tonight at 9 p.m. and the way you do it is download the free WHAS 11 Plus app. That's where it airs. Download on your TV and then watch for free.